So I'm first going to start off with my water castor oil mixture that has a little bit of lavender in it. I'm then going to use the Mielle Organics leave-in conditioner from their pomegranate and honey line, as well as the Mielle Organics twisting souffle from the same product line. So then I'm going to take 2 of my sections and untwist and detangle them. The rest of the twisted sections are underneath the conditioning cap to try and help retain moisture as I work on other sections. My hair, I don't usually like to rinse out all the conditioner I've used in the shower. I'll leave some in and continue to detangle. So just detangling here with my Denman brush. I love this brush. I've probably had it for over 5 years, and I thought about getting other brushes, but this one works really well, so I'm going to continue to use it. But yeah, right here just really trying to detangle all the hair in that one section and get it ready to be twisted. So I have my first section. I've sectioned off my first section, and it's usually pretty small. But I'll section that off and spray it again with the water castor oil conditioner, then brush through it again with the Denman brush to get out any other tangles. I then will take the leave-in conditioner, a couple pumps of that, take that and spread it throughout that section. I then will take a scoop of the twisting souffle. So I always do leave-in conditioner first, and then a scoop of the twisting souffle. And I like to use enough of the twisting souffle that it's just kind of on the tips of my fingers when I scoop it up. I don't want too much, but I definitely want enough to coat the strands of hair. I'll then split that section in two and make the sections as even as possible. And then I'll twist very tightly at the roots, as tight as I can at the roots of my hair. That's been a pretty key technique for me in twisting my hair as thick as it is to twist tightly towards the root. I'll then twist my hair, and then towards the end I'll kind of stop at some point and just twirl the hair around my finger. So I don't twist all the way to the end of the hair. I stop maybe an inch or two up. It varies by twist, but I'll stop and kind of twirl the hair with my finger, and sometimes it comes out perfect the first try, and sometimes I have to do it a couple times just to get it to, twist just right. I'll then move on to my next row. Usually with the second row of the section, I can now make 2 sections with this row, so I'll split it as well. So I'll brush with a Denman brush and detangle, and then I'll take the hair and split it into 2 sections, working on one section at a time. So again, detangling with the Denman brush, a couple pumps of the leave-in conditioner first, and then a scoop of the twisting souffle. And again, just always twisting as tight as possible towards the roots, just making sure the hair there is going to lay down pretty flat. One thing I always like to do is twist towards the right. I always twist towards the right side of my head. I pretty much do that all over. There are probably a few twists that I'm twisting towards the left, but more than likely that's going to be in the back when it's kind of hard to position my hands. But most of the time it's towards the right, and I think that just kind of helps with looking uniform all over, and then it kind of helps me with the pinup style that I do, the left side pinup style I do with my hair when I'm finished with the twists.
Pick a tree to carve our names, let the world last longer than a wedding ring. Generations tattooed with the love we bring. From the seeds we sow to the time it takes to grow. Long enough to show you I won't let go of you. 'Cause without you I'm incomplete. This love song without this beat. I'm saying that you are the man I need. I need. Yeah. Making my plans just to be with you. Till the days are through. Shame love to say I do.
So here is the first section all done. That probably took me, to be honest, about 30 to 40 minutes, but I like to, even though it takes a while, I like to take my time, so I'm definitely detangling each section with a dimming brush. I'm spraying each section with the water, castor oil mixture. I'm putting the leave-in on each section, and I'm putting the twisting souffle on each section every single time. So that's probably one of the reasons why it does take me the amount of time that it takes to do my hair, but it's kind of just how I like it, so I'm gonna take the time to make sure I do all those steps. I'm not really big on using combs to section off my twists before I twist them. I'm pretty okay with just using my fingers to section off the hair. Sometimes the sections don't look that great, but really in the end I think my hair is thick enough to where you can't really tell that the lines aren't straight in the back or on the side. So not having to use a comb, for me, it just kind of makes me feel like the process is going a little bit faster. This section here looks like it's kind of a mess, but again, you're not really going to be able to tell that like once all the twists are in. So I just use my fingers. So I've finally made it to the front section of my hair, the hair that frames my face. And usually with this section of hair, I try to take more time in making sure that it looks as neat as possible. In this section, I will, sometimes use a comb to make sure that the parts are straight. One thing about this section of my hair is the curl pattern is a lot looser, as you can see. So usually I am using more product on the hair just to make sure that it will curl at the ends, and most of the times it does. I don't really have a problem with the hair once it's dried, but when it's wet and I'm trying to twist it, it's definitely a looser curl pattern, so I have to use a little bit more product. One of the things that I usually have to do when I reach this point of my hair is use a lot more of the water castor oil mixture, just because this is the last section of the hair that I'm doing. It has had the most time to dry, technically, even though the hair is very much still damp. It's had more time to dry, so I use a lot more of the water castor oil mixture. I will also start to use gel at this point in the style, so like I said, the hair can be looking as neat as possible. Right now I'm using the Wet Line. I think it's Wet Line X gel. I really have no idea if it's good for my hair, but I've been using it for a few months now, and I really like the hold that it has, so I'll use that a lot towards that front section to make sure that the roots are laying down and there's as minimal frizz as possible. I'm still twisting as tight as I can towards the root, but I will also use that gel to help lay the hair down. So I have finally reached the last twist, last section of hair. As you can see, my hair is in a side part. I love a good side part. I always wear it heavy on the right side of my face. But the process hasn't changed. It's still the same. Water, castor oil mixture. In that castor oil mixture, I also put a little bit of lavender essential oil. I didn't say that before, but I put a little bit of lavender to make it smell nice. And I use that gel, right at the roots, and make sure the roots are laid down and do that last twist. And as I'm sure you can tell, there is quite a bit of product on my hair, and there's usually always quite a bit of product that you can see in those front twist sections. That usually doesn't bother me. I'm not really worried about that, because by the time it's dried, you can't see any of that product. I think it kind of has something to do with the texture, the looser texture of hair there. So at the end, I will use that wet line gel once again and lay down the edges on the left side of my face. Usually this is the section that I will kind of pin up to the side, so I always like to make sure that the edges are laid down and looking really nice. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening to this process. I definitely hope to give you more videos in the future. Thanks.
To show you, I won't let go of you. Without you, I'm incomplete. Like this love song without this beat. I'm saying that you are the man I need.